For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber, and today I'm joined by Aynaz, Anni, Cyrus. How you doing this morning?
Oh, wonderful. So proud. Pick up on the sarcasm.
Yeah. Well, you and I both had some rough night getting any sleep last night, just between the elections and everything else that's going on. And that's pretty much what we're going to hone in on this morning is exactly what just happened yesterday. Because I think there's a combination of Democrats basically losing their minds. And this is also the consequences when you don't have election day, you have election season. Because there's a few people that snuck across the finish line that I don't think would have if we just had votes on election day. But we're going to dive into that after we get to our main story here, which is New York City elects Marxist Muslim Zoran Mamdani as the face of the Democrat Party, or as I've been calling him, the Islamunist.
I from day one I said he'll win. He will win.
Yeah.
But he will win, and he did win. And I agree with both the statements you made, but I will also say this is the result when Americans so desperately want to coexist and not feel guilty about pushing back against their enemies.
Yeah.
Culturally, we have been programmed, well, not me and you, but we as a nation, we have been programmed to prove I'm not a racist, I'm not a bigot, I'm not a this and that, through actions that are going to work against us.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures, I saw the post, I saw the endorsement by Jewish rabbis in New York City for Mamdani.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, pre-election polling was all over the place, but somewhere between 60 and 70% of the Jewish population in New York voted for this guy. When we went from never forget to electing Zoran Mamdani to essentially bring the Caliphate to New York in barely over 24 years. It's insane. Now, I know a lot of people the last few days, now that the polling turned around and said that Cuomo could have won, that he had more support, and that seemed to be pretty true across most polling entities. However, again, when you bank votes for, 2 months, essentially, that doesn't matter because most people got their votes early. We talked about a few days ago a guy that was, sorry, I'm blanking on who it was, a conservative journalist that was out there in front of these early voting locations that was talking to people, literally showing them things off Mamdani's website, and they're like, oh man, well, I guess maybe I shouldn't have voted for him. Well, it's too late. If you don't know the facts on the candidate, and instead you're voting because of feelings that you want to, like you said, show you're not racist or anti-Semitic or anti-Islam.
Islamophobe.
Yeah, an Islamophobe, then this is what happens.
Yes, and even so, let's break this down for a minute. We all, I think, had enough time to digest what just happened. Joe expected, I did not take it well.
Yeah.
I know you didn't either. Many didn't, but let's not also forget when we look the other way, when we keep saying, well, there's nothing we can do, they're minority, yada, yada, yada. I don't have the numbers, I don't have the breakdown. I know a lot of Democrats voted for him. I know Jewish people voted for him, but he won. Last I checked, the last number I saw was 1.04 million votes. There are over 1 million Muslims in New York. I'm just saying, when you allow the minority of Muslims coming to your town, to your state, they become their own voting base. And they will vote for no one except their own candidates. Unlike us, who, don't have that unity, they just vote for the Muslim person, whatever the policy.
Yeah.
They're
Y-
growing pretty fast. And and here's what kills me, Michael. This morning, as you know, I pretty much sat up at 6 in the morning on my couch until 7:30 looking at what's happening online. And we're like, well, too bad. New Yorkers make their own decision. When are we going to stop? It happened to Minnesota. We just said, well, Minnesota is gone. Minnesota is not America. It happened to Michigan. We said the same thing. It happened in Chicago. We said this. When are we going to stop? Oh, when it comes to our town?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be too late for that if that's when we're waiting to do something about it. But yeah, I just looked up. So the metro population of New York's 8.4 million. I think that's pretty close with, they don't have exact population decreases since 2020, but I think this estimate's pretty close. But the fact that, again, only 1 million people voted this guy in out of a population of 8 million, where was everybody else? Sitting on the couch watching things happen. And I do think in New York specifically, you have a convergence of two things. You have this radical wing of the Democrat base taking over the party. This guy was a Democrat Socialist of America candidate. Make no mistake about it. This guy is a full-fledged communist. He's going to destroy this city. There's supposedly 1 million people are going to leave New York City. I don't really see that happening. I think a chunk of them will. A lot of businesses will. As his tax policy that he wants to put in. If you live in New York, you're going to be paying almost 57% of your income in taxes. If you're someone that still does pay taxes, because I'm sure he'll raise that bar too to, again, get more people to vote for him. But if you're an actual income earner, somebody that brings something to New York, get ready to give up almost 2/3 of your income. This isn't even getting into the other insanity. Get ready to start getting woken up by the call of prayer at 5 in the morning every day. I'm sure people are going to enjoy that. Get ready for more subway stabbings. Don't be surprised when it starts looking like Landanistan in New York. And I don't know, 9 months to a year, we'll see what happens there. Because I also think that with his victory, this is going to cause a lot of Muslims around the rest of the country to flock to New York. So get ready for a full-on takeover there.
Yes, agreed with everything you said. And I will also add, I've been pushing this from day one, emphasized on it last night on our coverage, and I will push again. Mamdani is, yes, full on communist. I actually said, is there a difference between an Islamist and a communist? Not really. The only difference is Islamist side kills for Allah, communist side kills for themselves because they think they're God. But mind you, he is also a Shia Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Shia Muslim funded by Sunnis being care, for example.
Yep.
So this is another lesson for Americans. When I sit here and say Shia and Sunnis and Wahhabis might be killing each other in Middle East, but they will work with each other to kill us here. Here's your proof. Here's your
Yeah.
proof. None of the Muslim donors or voters minded that he's a Shia, which is a minority in Islamic society. Again, Shia Muslims are the minority when it comes to between Wahhabis, Shias, and Sunnis. You
Yeah.
have one full country of Shia, which is Iran. The rest of them are Sunni or Saudi Arabia Wahhabis, but they supported this guy. So stop thinking because they fight each other over there, they're going to fight each other here. No, here a Muslim is a Muslim. The sect makes no difference.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to fight for their common interests and the things that they believe in, get across the finish line. Then they're going to deal with the other differences between the different sects of Islam after the fact. But yeah, they're going to push for the common goal. There'll be unity until they take over. And again, that's something else that we have to actually understand here, and most people do not. But yeah, this is bad news for New York. It's going to destroy the city. And I also blame the media for not picking apart a lot of the things this guy promised while running that is, impossibilities. Like, I don't know how he's going to actually make the buses run faster, or do some of the other, have these state-run grocery stores and not put every legitimate grocery store out of business. Not to mention they won't be able to supply food, as we've seen with other state-run grocery stores in St. Louis and, sorry, I'm blanking on where the other one was, in California, that recently went out of business. This is voting for failure. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yes, and we need to keep in mind that New York City, this isn't just bad for New York City. It's gonna affect the rest of us as well. And also, one of my favorite people, as you know, Michael, the quiet Linda Sarsour released a video.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm on the quiet side of this election, but I will talk after. She was so sure, more sure than I was. But in that, what does she mention in that video? Sorry, I should have sent you the video, but she very much says, Mamdani being where he is at was no accident. It was the Muslim money and the Muslims vote.
Yeah.
I really think people need to start paying attention. Don't try to translate what these people say. Take it as they say it. And while we're on the discussion of media, I also blame the right wing media for emphasizing on his socialist side without even mentioning his Muslim side. Many networks, many reporters just kept pushing his social side. Last night, I'm not going to name names, some of these people posting about Mamdani winning, again, just mentioning the socialist Democrat won. Stop
Yeah.
hiding. This right wing is also afraid of naming the Islamic side of him too. No.
Yeah, no, that is another thing. More people need to start mentioning, Islam is not compatible with Western values in any way, not just Sharia. And look at any Muslim nation right now. Look at the restrictions that they have on women, restrictions they have. I mean, this is a political system. This isn't just a psychotic religion. This is an all-encompassing. It takes over every aspect of your life and determines how you're going to live. It's totally incompatible with freedom or any of our Western values, and that should be blatantly obvious. I mean, that's the other thing I just don't understand. Like, we can look right across the ocean over to the UK. We can look at Germany right now, see what's happening in both those countries, and know that that is what's headed here when you embrace this kind of insanity. But New York is going to pay the price for this, and that means all of us are going to. One of getting past just the pitfalls of socialism, communism, and Islam there, he is going to bankrupt the city. And at some point, we are going to be forced to bail them out. Because that's, typically, that's always how it is. There's always strong talk that we're not going to do it. But at the end of the day, they'll end up getting some kind of bailout. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to put our country back on life support when we have to fund all these idiotic ideas and fund our own destruction. But, he wasn't the only Muslim that won high office yesterday. We also have this. Ghazala Hashmi wins Virginia lieutenant governor's race, becoming the first Muslim woman elected statewide. And even beyond that, we talk about country's destruction. She also is somebody that pushed for this pornography in the school libraries and other leftist nonsense to get her, her street cred with them. But, again, now that she's in office, watch all that policy reverse, and she's going to abandon the gays.
And she's also, again, let me bring a few things up here because I think it's good for people to connect the dots. I've been trying. Ghazala sponsored a bill in Virginia. You can look it up. I don't. It's either HR 71 or 78. It's basically it's not even a law. It was just praise and gratitude to the Ahmadiyya community of America. Ahmadiyyas are the baby sect of Shia Muslims. Again, she might be publicly all about, pro-abortion and pro-LGBT, but when it comes to sponsoring, you look at her sponsorship of bills or actions, she is absolutely against anything Israel. She is all about the Ahmadiyya or Shia community in Virginia and across America. Also, she was the main speaker at 2021 pro-Palestinian event. She was also in 2025 recently a speaker at another Ahmadiyya event. She has wore her Islamic faith on her sleeve from day one, and now she's got more power than a lot of people realize. Because I actually had a few people, Michael, they're like, "Ah, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, why do I have to sweat over that?" Well, you should. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Even if one of them is, listen, a lot of them started from local city council, made their way up to state and then later federal positions. And Lieutenant Governor still holds more power than she should.
Yeah.
And my exact word was, don't let her face fool you. Ghazala is not who a lot of people think she is. Look, Rashida Tlaib doesn't wear the hijab either. Have you seen her?
Yeah.
Just because Ghazala doesn't wear the hijab, she comes from Indian background. She was 4 years old when she came here. Guess what? Ilhan was a baby when she came here. That didn't make a difference. It's not about how long you've been in America. It's that what kind of family you grew up in.
Yeah.
The
I
Muslim
see.
family that celebrated Ramadan.
Yeah. I see Emma's decided to join the broadcast.
She's been sitting here pretty much from the beginning, but I think she needed a stretch. But I don't. She's getting big enough to actually jump on top of this. I think I need to raise it a little bit more. But for now, she co-hosts every time I'm on her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if she's got anything important to say, we'll go right to her. Yeah. Even. Virginia, let's go ahead and just jump into this because, Virginia was basically the result I expected, except for one thing. But Democrat Abigail Spanberger wins Virginia. This part of the other problem is the Republicans putting up weak candidates. Winsome Sears, I like for the most part, but it wasn't really the campaign, and it's not necessarily entirely her fault. It wasn't the campaign we needed. The RNC does not get involved. We don't have good ground game. I blame them for a lot of these losses too, for not doing a good job, really getting the message out and pushing back against a lot of these people. This Spanberger is wrapped up in a dozen different scandals, or half a dozen scandals, but there was almost no. That wasn't the message that was going out. And again, we've got to start actually fighting to win, or this is the kind of thing that happens. And this is, Virginia, I think, is really important to hold on to, because both Spanberger and Jay Jones, who we're going to get to in a few minutes, they've talked about they're going to try to find the crimes. A lot of Trump's officials live within Virginia. They've already talked about targeting Kash Patel, Hegseth, and others that live within their borders, trying to find lawsuits or other crimes to charge them with, basically just to tie them up. And again, slow down the agenda. And they will do that. And it's, again, because we don't get out there. We don't really fight hard enough. We don't have a good get out the vote effort like the left does. Now, I get part of this whole election. These were purple states and blue states. So the left was going to win most of these anyway. Especially, like, they're upset. They've gotten more radical. They're going to get out in the streets right now and try to do something to shift the tide. But it's our fault this kind of stuff happens. And we'll get to some of the other candidates here in a minute. But Spanberger was always going to win. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah, I would also say that, not to blame, but the comfort that came after 2024, I heard many people, every election until 2028 is Republicans. We're going to wipe every seat. We're going to win that comfort. Look, it happened in 2016. It happened in 2020. Republican voters or politicians or candidates, they tend to get way too comfortable with one victory. It's like, that's it. We got this. There's way more work to be done. If you look at it, though Democrats, not even a Democrat voter can disagree that they have shown their true colors. They're willing to go as far as it takes to gain power, to keep power, to silence opposition. But at the same time, Republicans, as you said, the voters, independent Republican, they just don't go. What happened in New York City going back is a lot of conservatives didn't show up. They didn't care
Yes.
to vote for Silva because the guy
Yeah.
had no platform. I listened to his entire debate, both debate nights, and I couldn't make sense out of what is this guy doing.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
they
part of the
just didn't show up.
Well, that's again, I think a big part of the problem is when you have these blue and purple states, the Republicans, and this is the RNC's doing again, instead of running somebody that is a strong candidate, they run these weak, wishy-washy rhino Republicans, or they're barely to the right of the rhinos. Instead of running somebody that people actually get excited about, that's a big part of the problem, and it causes people just to sit on their butts. They don't want to go out and campaign. They don't want to do anything because you're just going to end up with somebody else that's going to stab you in the back. And I think that's a big part of the problem. Now, I don't think Sliwa would have stabbed you in the back. He's I'd agree. He didn't have much of a platform. I mean, this is somebody, though, that really loves the city. He's put his life on the line numerous times with the Guardian Angels. He's been consistent and outspoken. But same thing, like the people in New York like him and appreciate what he did. He actually polls higher than a lot of people, but he's not a winner. He's not somebody that's going to get out there, get the base excited, so they actually show up and vote. And again, that's no knock on Sliwa. Sorry, go ahead.
Michael, the days of the conservative face of class and morals, I'm sorry, it's over. If your
Yeah.
candidate isn't standing there yelling, screaming, spitting while platforming, forget it. Forget it.
Yeah.
People want someone who has the fire to fight for them.
Well, exactly.
The nice looking, charisma, smile, cute hat of this guy isn't a platform. We need one. Where are our young people? Where is our Memdani? Where is our AOC? Where are they? Did we not raise a generation that can fight? Then shame on us. That's number one.
Well, I do think we have those people, but they're not in New York. They're not in these areas because the people there are scared. But we need somebody that can articulate that. Like you said, we need somebody that will get out there with this fire and outline a plan and actually push back, call your enemy what it is. Don't be afraid of getting called names by the media. They're irrelevant now. We need to learn that lesson and fight accordingly. Just like this budget battle in the Senate right now. We should be ending the filibuster, and we should then be ramming through our entire agenda as quickly as humanly possible with the goal of having that cripple the left so they can never win an election again. And we get election integrity measures and other things through, that will happen. Same with like cleaning up the illegal immigration problem, actually investigating and doing something about all this illicit funding. We only touched on this, but all the money, Zoran Mandani's campaign is being investigated for illicit donations as we speak. But again, that was hardly articulated by Curtis Sliwa or anybody on the right. We ran the story a few days ago. Everybody looked at it, and that was that. But really getting into just how corrupt that is, or these Smurf donations that Jocelyn Benson just got caught taking in Michigan. Same thing. I don't know why these things haven't been cleaned up, why we aren't just arresting people immediately when stuff like this happens. Instead, we have this long investigation, and then they cut a deal, and they pay back some funds, and there's no jail time. They're not removed from office. We don't fight to win. And until our side understands that, we're going to continue to get stomped.
We were getting there. We were getting the fire back to fight.
Yes.
But 2024 happened. Everybody chilled again. I remember off air and on air, I told you, I said my biggest fear is people are going to go back home and just watch football and be happy that they got their guy back in office. Fight's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully this is the wake-up call we need, because, we also have this. And this is the one race that Republicans were hopeful on, but Mickey Sherrill wins New Jersey. Now, this is another one, though, which again shows why we don't want election season. We need to go back to actually having election day, because he was pulling ahead. A lot of her baggage, we'll call it, and history was coming out. It really was impacting voters. But again, when you have this, unlimited mail-in votes and election season as opposed to election day, that makes it really difficult for anybody outside of whoever the media is pushing to win, because their base is excited. Now, here in New Jersey, I think we did have a chance, but once again, we blew it by not having a more conservative candidate. And I know the excuse there is, oh, well, you want to have somebody more moderate that'll reach across the aisle. No, that doesn't work. That's not what the base wants. Yeah, there's probably a small number of boomers out there that still look for that kind of thing. They want somebody that's a deal maker, but we are way past that. We cannot be making deals with evil, and unfortunately, that is the path the left has chosen to embrace in our country.
Well, if you would allow me, let me point two things out that I disagree with. Number one, listen, there is an election season. You're right. But people should be smart. They shouldn't
Yeah,
go for it. There's no force. You don't have to mail in your ballot. Wait until last day, show up in lines and vote. I can't necessarily just blame the opportunity. I mean, the box is there. You don't have to use it. So part of it is people being lazy. They don't
yeah,
wait until they have enough information. They just, as you said, they just vote for whomever mainstream is pushing. It's kind of voting has become a chore for most Americans. Just get it done, be done with it. It doesn't have the importance of making decision for your country anymore because a lot of people have given up. I don't blame
yeah,
them. They have given up that left or right doesn't matter. They're all the same. They don't do it. As far as the candidate, not having a strong candidate in New Jersey, that was a little I was a little surprised with that result. I didn't think, she's gonna just take the win. But comes back to we need to invest in our new generation. You know what?
yeah,
Forget about new generation. How about our own generation? What?
yeah.
We're early 40s, right? Republican side does suffer from older age, older mind, as you said,
But
boomers mindset. So the policies are not catching up. They're playing
yeah,
with the old games. Therefore, to voters, they don't come, they're not appealing. They're not trustworthy. They're not. I have
yeah,
talked to, I'm neither Republican or Democrat, but I talk to Democrats, voters, Republican, and, the Republican side can say, oh, he just doesn't seem like he's going to get the job done. Oh, I'm not going to vote. Who cares? They're all work together anyways. So, as you said, when there is no major shift in policy, action, and reaction, regardless of administration, I don't blame people for not voting or trusting or even trying anymore. We
yeah.
need to step up. And by we, I mean the administration from federal, state to local, all of them, just like Democrats do. They do it in
Yeah.
their own way of lack of moral and, taking out truth tellers, but
Well,
they at least do something. We don't.
well, and the other big thing is the Democrats understand how to make all these people national candidates. Whether you're talking Mamdani or just about anybody else that won yesterday. Their donations are coming in across from the whole country, not just their district. Now, there's some people on the Republican side that understand how to do that and become a national face. And again, that's how you get this kind of support that you need to win today, is by being broad and appealing, especially to the people that are more energized about a victory. More than 50% of Mamdami's donations came in from outside of New York State. A lot of them came in from other countries too, but we'll talk about that another time. Or were laundered through CARE or other places. But this is how you end up with stuff like this. Like, this is the one that actually surprised me yesterday.
Oh,
The one that really surprised me. The new Democrat Party. Virginia Democrats vote in deranged man who wants to kill Republicans and see their children die in their mother's arms. And the fact that this guy not only won, but won handily, again, by a few percentage points, that, to me, that is insane. That this is what Democrats are embracing. And that just really shows the division within our country right now. Normally, on either side of the aisle, somebody that made those kind of comments and got caught, they would have dropped out of the race a few years ago once they got caught. That I think there are very few on either side. When this kind of stuff came out and it was confirmed, they would have dropped out because they would have thought their own party would have pushed them out, because they're like, okay, well, this person can never win now. But instead, what we're seeing on the left is them continue to embrace this kind of rhetoric and violence, and that's how people like him or Mamdani or numerous others got pulled across the finish line last night.
yes, but I go back to human psychology. Democrats will vote for this guy, though his actions are absolutely unexcusable. They see a fighter.
Yep.
They see someone who's not afraid to say what needs to be said to become controversial enough for his name to go further than four or five channels. That's a, again, problem with Republicans. They want to be nice. They don't want to say something that's um, controversial, and that's how they don't make it. They don't get big enough name wise, unless
Yeah.
they're already big enough. That's the problem. I don't agree. I was absolutely disgusted. But point is, Americans today on any side, middle, left, right, far left, they are looking for heroes and fighters.
Yeah.
For so long, they have watched roll on the floor, bow to whatever it is, give it up, let's just make a deal, whatever comes out of it. So that, again, Democrat voters, they have always been pro violence, censorship, shut them down. They have been. So
Yeah.
for them to be okay with this comment doesn't shock me. But
Yeah.
for him to say it, he knew he's not going to be pushed out. Because he knows that is what people look for, especially when the other side is still trying to be nice and get along and not be disrespectful. And let's face it, how did Trump become so popular from the moment he walked down that aisle, but that
Yeah.
escalator?
He
Before,
articulated the fight.
well, he left a legacy of being a bully and being mean. Look, we all loved it.
Yeah.
We love that somebody just came down those escalators and said, I'm a run. We're like, finally, a fighter. Let's face it, he's really a bully and he's very mean. But we didn't mind. Did you mind? I
No.
preferred him, like, finally, somebody
Exactly.
who's not gonna, as a Christian, I'll say this. I remember my biggest problem with Ted Cruz for the longest time was that, I'm sorry, but I don't think the church boy should run for president.
No.
Because for the longest time, he was the nice haircut, head down, polite, minimum volume. I'm like, what is that? Trump shows up, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But we don't see that. Now, as you know, I criticize Trump on his second term almost hourly every day. However, when he showed up, I even desperately needed someone who's mean and is going to get in their face and not afraid to be controversial. We need more of that in many other places, many other positions. I'm not
Yes.
saying go and say, I want to shoot someone. That is the method of the left. But even
Yes.
on the right and in the middle, we still need a fighter, somebody who's not afraid to raise their volume and say, listen, I'll tell you what to do. We're
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's the thing with Trump is he will push back. He will correct the record. If the media has a story out there that he doesn't like, he'll put out a tweet about it. And sometimes that's a little over the top, but at least he pushes back. He calls out the lies, the manipulation, the trying to set the narrative. When they are critical of, like a great example, they've been posting these, arrests after the fact with a lot of the illegal aliens right now that they're scooping up that are criminals, and then they're on SNAP benefits or they're on other government programs and subsidies while they're here breaking the law, not just by being in the country, but also, assaults, rapes, murders, everything else, and just illustrating the fact that we are subsidizing that lifestyle right now. This is very effective. We need more people that think like that and more people on our side that do not back down, that don't try to play nice with the media. The New York Times is going to hate you no matter what you do. CNN is only ever going to run a story that's favorable to Republicans when it's blatantly obvious, like some of this budget negotiations right now, where it's so bad that they can't hide the facts. That is the only time where they are going to write a positive story or have a positive interview. I mean, there was a clip I ran on another program yesterday with David Hogg, trying to lie to Scott Jennings, getting his ass called out on it on CNN. That is the only time that the other commentators are going to back the conservative when they have somebody like that where it's blatant lies. We do need to take a quick break, hear from our sponsor, and then we're going to be right back with even more.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Anni, Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com.
painting, but I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
All right. Thank you for staying with us. Again, the best way to support our program and all the great programs here on Ex America News by supporting our sponsors. Please go to lutfstudio.com. Get yourself a unique, one-of-a-kind, handmade piece of art from our guest today, Anni Cyrus. And right now, you're running a special where they can get 30% off everything, but 40% off. They use code insurrection. I just saw a couple of pieces that you had posted on your Substack, the angels. Those are beautiful. I'm sure those are going to get swept up off the website quickly. But if you guys do want a custom item, she takes custom orders. You know, if it's got to match your leopard print and zebra theme for your living room, we might not approve of your taste, but you can still get a custom piece made to match it. Yeah. Well, I might, but, I'm just not going to tell you.
Yeah, if I could just say quickly, our 30% off pre-Christmas sale will end this Friday at midnight. So if you don't grab whatever you need or you like by Friday midnight, then your promo code will be going back to 10% off instead of 40% off. So, and yes, those angels are actually, they have become bestsellers since I started making them. So head over to lutfstudio.com before Friday midnight, or if you do after, that's all right too. Items are there, but you won't get the 40% off.
Exactly. Yeah, get yourself a unique, one-of-a-kind, handmade piece of art. It's sure to become a treasured family heirloom. We pass down to future generations.
I do miss that garage. I'll have to admit. I miss that setup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of great memories there. A lot of unique pieces of art. But you got a great studio now, too. And, both of us need to get back in the swing of creating more pieces and new designs, new patterns. Well, I guess let's jump back into it.
Do we have to?
For now. Then I'm definitely getting a greasy cheeseburger somewhere for lunch today. Newsom's gerrymandering Prop 50 passes easily minutes after polls close in California. And again, no surprise there. But really the message here needs to be some of these Republicans that talked about redistricting in their states need to stop talking and commit. We can pick up, 20 or more seats just by redistricting in red states right now. Now, I know Florida's doing it. Texas is doing it. I think Indiana's got legislation pushing through right now. Ohio, we should be, I know there's a bill here. It'll be about 2 seats to pick up. But any state we control right now, unless like every one of your reps right now is a Republican, we've got to start fighting back like the Democrats do. That every state they control is gerrymandered to the max. We've talked about this ad nauseum, so I'm not going to walk you through everything once again. But that's the message this should send. They chose this fight, so we need to actually go to the mattresses and fight to win. Otherwise, they will continue to dominate.
Let me read this tweet. As a result of Prop 50 passing in California last night, blood red Huntington Beach, which has all Republicans on its city council and is a MAGA stronghold, will be represented by progressive Democrat Congressman Robert Garcia as part of newly District 42. I know what you said on the red estates, but I want to bring out a lot of people try to fight Prop 50. And I was very aware of the Prop 50 and its problems and all that because one of the shows I produced that we air on Ex America News, Politics in Perspective with Tom Del Boccaro, he was covering that nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
Right now with California situation is, I know California is blue. I know we always expect California to go to blue, whatever, but it's going to affect actual decent lives that was left in certain areas. We had my friend Hediye Mir Ahmedi on your show a while ago. Last night she said she was devastated. The whole point was her entire neighborhood, her entire city is absolutely blood red, MAGA, Republican, gone. So keep your eyes on this. Could possibly become a model. Just you said it for red city states. It could turn into where what is left of blue states might be destroyed as well. It's
Yeah.
one of those double-edged swords.
Well, yeah, and that's the way we should treat it. They've already declared this war. This is something they've been doing for well over 20 years. You look at like a map of Illinois is probably the worst, where the districts zigzag all over the state and don't make any sense. But that's to maximize Democrat output and to dilute the Republican vote wherever they can. It's an effective strategy. You look at I can't remember if it was Connecticut or Massachusetts or Maryland. That anyway, you have approximately 42% of the voters are Republicans. However, they have no Republican seats, no districts anywhere, because the whole state's been gerrymandered. And then I can't remember if it was the other one, Massachusetts, one of the others of the three. I think it was Massachusetts. They have one Republican representative in the entire state. Same thing, about 44% registered Republican voters. But again, so if that's how they're going to play, then we need to play the same way. We need to take some of these districts. We need to dilute the Democrat vote, expand it out into more rural areas, and add in Republicans and take their seat away. If they're going to fight like this, then we have to be in the game. And again, what they're doing is unethical, but it isn't illegal. But unfortunately, that's the battle we're going to have to fight. You cannot beat them. When they're willing to go to these kind of lengths to maintain power or to solidify power, then we have to be willing to do the same thing. Maybe one day we'll be able to go back to civil politics, but that day isn't today, and we already know what to expect out of them, only it's going to be amplified. We saw what happened during the last 4 years of Biden. I brought this up a month ago, so I don't even know how many arrests it would be at this point. But a month ago, they'd already arrested 700 J6 defendants, started numerous investigations into parents that were speaking out at school boards, and they were going full bore. And unfortunately, again, our side plays nice, and that's why we lose. They take advantage of that. We have to get out of that mentality and actually fight to win and save this country if we don't want it to be completely taken over the next 10 years.
Exactly. Goes back to exactly the fact that we need fighters. We
Yeah.
need our representatives, local, state, or federal, to stop being so nice, to stop being so distracted. I mean, honestly, Michael, I look at some of the names. I'm like, okay, they all used to be very united, but now they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Popular example, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, when did our party become the inner fight party?
Yeah.
When did that
Yeah.
happen? It's like, no, but my moral campus says this and that. Okay, that's great. But it goes back to my cliche of fighting. When you're fighting Islam, there is no moral campus. There isn't. The
Yeah.
reason the disaster of Iraq, the disaster of Afghanistan, was because we had a code of conduct. They didn't. You
Yeah.
can't have a code of conduct. You can't have a code of honor when you're dealing with the most dishonorable, barbaric mindset there is. Are we going to ever
Yep.
learn? And right now, when it comes to Democrat policies, I'm not talking about policies of offices. I'm talking about policy of life. Their policy has definitely matched the Islamic policy.
Yeah.
They will kill, they will imprison, they will torture, they will eliminate their enemy. What else do you need for them to start doing before our politicians realize, oh, wait, actually, we are officially in war? Why is everybody waiting for guns to start blazing on the streets? This civil
Yeah.
war started a long time ago. The problem is they keep shooting, we keep dodging. Start
Yeah.
shooting back.
Yeah. Start doing something. We've got to put our own policy forward and actually stick to it. No more playing
Right,
nice.
that was all the shooting I talked about is figure of a speech. No, don't go shooting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that time. Not yet, at least.
I'm
This is one
afraid
of.
if we don't stand up, it will never be time, Michael.
Yeah.
What is there
Yeah.
left to that time? That time won't happen. They're conquering city by city, state by state, as you said, zoning by zoning between Democrats and Muslims. What is there
Well, yeah.
left to take back?
Well, again, yeah, their side is, institutes policies like sanctuary state policy or other things where they pretend they're above the law. We've got to clamp down on that immediately. This can't be allowed to go on. Again, you have federal supremacy. We've got to start actually utilizing the law that's in our favor, use the power that the people have given us to move our agenda forward. Again, that is what the American people voted for in the last election. Some of you rhinos need to learn this lesson. Right now we are at a critical juncture. We could have a near total victory in the next 2 years where the Democrats couldn't win dog catcher in Walla Walla, Washington, if we actually utilized the power, ended the filibuster, and then pushed through all this legislation that we keep talking about, from just free and fair elections, voter integrity measures, mass deportations, cleaning up EBT and other systems, all these things that we've talked about, getting tax policy and tariffs in line, policy that will actually make our country better and stronger. But at the end of the day, we need to actually enforce that and do something about it. And right now, there's just too many wimps out there. I want to shift over just a little bit here because this is something else I saw. Scott Jennings issues blunt warning as CNN panel gloats over Democrat victories. And I think he made an excellent point here. And this is something that, we need to remember. And again, we need to think like this, think in these kind of terms. Let me play this for you real quick and I'll get your response.
I just want to offer condolences to Chuck Schumer. Honestly, what I'm reading here in New York City is that AOC is going to be the next senator from New York after she gets done whooping his rear end in the 2028 Democratic primary. And for his Senate races in 2026, I see the energy in the Democratic Party tonight behind a socialist, and I see the energy in Virginia, Democrats looking the other way on a violent candidate for Attorney General who says he wants to murder Republicans and their children. If you think you're getting rid of Graham Plattner in Maine now, think again. This is a terrible night for national Democratic image, given what is happening inside their party. Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy, and Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Let's swear.
There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
He's a life raft for Republicans who have to go on TV and get their asses kicked today.
No. You own this. You own this now. You all own this now.
Wow. Well, he's very correct on that warning, but I do love the numbness in that panel. They're like, what? Oh no, we're all good. That's what I'm talking about, though, Michael. It is clear, like the warning is, yes, very, very correct, very accurate. It is a warning, but do you really think anybody's going to care for that warning? Does anyone care? On the Democrat side, I'm trying to say, like, you think Democrats are worried about their image?
Well, this
They
is
had
where I think
Biden as their face for 4 years.
True.
Can't get worse.
Well, this is where I think it is going to matter. And that's, right now, New York, New Jersey, to a lesser extent, Virginia, but it's turning bluer and bluer all the time because of people moving out from D.C. This is the one thing is I don't think the kind of candidates that won here are going to float in states that are more purple or states that are red. That it's going to, if this is the policy that they embrace, they are going to get fewer and fewer people out to the polls because there are, again, we look at the Democrat Party's national approval right now, it's still hovering around 21%. That's an all-time low. Well, I guess 17 was an all-time low, but 21 was the original all-time low, and then it fell further, then it bounced back up again by a few points. But regardless, they're in that neighborhood. So this is where our advantage is. Yes, states like this that these people are concentrated in, especially the ones that are embracing socialism, Islamism, and other things right now, that they are going to put in more and more extreme faces. Well, that loses the middle. Nobody in the middle of the country wants these kinds of people in office, which means they're going to move further to the right. So this is the thing. It's like we have a very limited window here. We have about a year to, again, make these people the face of the Democrat Party, scare the middle away from them, and we will pick up more seats. I don't believe that the left is going to have a big victory in the midterm. I don't think this is a sign of anything to come. I think New Jersey, Virginia were already trending blue beforehand. New York, it was basically a done deal that you're either going to end up with the Islamist or Cuomo, who killed thousands of people during COVID. They don't want a retry of that. But I do think in the rest of the country, this is going to be a stark warning. And that's why we need to highlight the destruction that these people unleash across their state and make sure that we are keeping that as the narrative. That's where Scott Jennings is right. And then as we keep saying, we need real fighters that will be pushing back against this and won't be afraid to articulate what we need to do to save this country and restore our values here.
Correct. But here's one thing we need to keep an eye on. I will strongly, like my eyes are going to be just on it, is while we worry about the red wave or the blue wave of midterm, don't forget about the green wave. Look what
Yeah.
happened last night. The green wave is coming this midterm. And we do have right now, because of the division of the Republican side, not the party, the people, people, specifically, let's say Christians. There is a full fight between Christians and Christian Zionists. So a Muslim candidate will start having a chance even inside the conservative Christian movement as long as they are anti-Israel. They get the votes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the exit polls. I know New York City is supposed to be something, but on the exit polls last night, most of the voters said what mattered to them to pick the vote they did was the candidate's stance against Israel. So that let's also be careful of the green wave hitting us.
Yeah.
That's coming. And
Yeah.
we do have Muslims who can run as Republicans. They have no problem doing that because at the end of the day, party doesn't matter to them. So
Yeah.
we're going to have a green wave to worry about as well.
Yeah, and more infiltration. Why is this thing not working? There it goes. Yeah, I want to bring this up, too, because we are getting low on time. Chip Roy introduces bill to strip absurd tax-exempt status from CARE and other groups with terrorist ties. And again, I asked the question, like, why wasn't this not done years ago? They've been a problem. They were unindicted co-conspirators in the Holy Land Foundation case. I mean, this goes back over 20 years. They've been a consistent problem. They've been caught funneling illegal donations to numerous campaigns. But we still have a tax exempt status. They're still allowed to operate within U.S. borders. Why can't we just find the votes to eliminate obvious evil threats to our country?
The same reason we do not highlight Mamdani's Muslim side. Because we do not, under no circumstances, we don't want to be Islamophobe at all. We also don't want to provoke the next attack. We don't want to be sued by CARE. Remember, CARE is by far the largest lawsuit corporation of Muslim community.
Yeah.
They do all the suing. That is why. And again, on top of that, our signal of our current administration, it's very mixed signal when
Yeah.
it comes to the Islam problem. We don't want Mamdani. If Mamdani wins, we're going to do such and such. But on the other hand, we seat a convicted jihadist on our board of faith. That's a
Yeah.
very mixed signal. On one hand, Iran is scared and can't do anything. On the other hand, our own people come and say it's starting to become dangerous again. Let's pay attention to Iran. It's
Yeah.
it's that mixed signaling is what's making it harder to get the votes. Plus the Islamophobia, plus the religious aspect of thing, plus the lawsuits. I mentioned this very question on my Substack when I did the expose on CARE, and when I
Yeah.
did another one on all of them that are still holding a tax exempt status, while every single one of them, one way or another, have ties. The proof is on the table, but nobody's going after them. That's the problem. We have softened our tone pretty much all the way. You talked about 20 years ago. Yesterday, I talked about 46 years ago.
Mhm.
46 years ago, yesterday, the IRGC students stormed our embassy in Tehran, shook Americans when the videos and pictures came out of the hostages blindfolded, in handcuffs, dragged on the streets, stone thrown at them. 52 of them kept for 444 days.
Yeah.
Now look at Iran today. And I must have I broke it down under every president. There was no exception. From Carter to today, we just kept feeding the monster. There was
Yeah.
no retaliation. That was declaration of war. That was it. Immediately. From Reagan,
Yeah.
we should have gone in there, fix it, finish it. Instead, we hid behind Iraq, hoping Saddam Hussein is going to take him out. 8 years of funding Iraq for Iran-Iraq war. A lot of Americans forget these kind of things. I wasn't in America, I wasn't even born yet, but your tax dollar paid the 8 years war of Iran and Iraq. Ended
Yeah.
with nothing, no result, back to square one. And then we did the arm deals. And then Bush reached out to make friends with him. Then Obama opened the floodgate. Trump first term, absolutely, yes. He walked away from the deal. He put the sanctions on him. But then Trump 2.0, not so much. Why
Yeah.
would this regime be so strong to run the entire region and be the head of funding Islamic terrorism in the world after 46 years with no consequences? That's the
Yeah.
same reason CARE keeps its tax exempt.
No, you're exactly right, unfortunately. Let's bring this in here, too, real quick. Ex-ISIS envoy who killed Americans in Iraq to be hosted at White House this month. I don't understand this at all. It's something we've talked about a bunch of times on here, that continuing to legitimize this monster that's taking control of Syria. There's still thousands of Christians being killed by his troops throughout northern Syria. Not to mention the I always forget the name of the Sufi Muslim sect, the one that doesn't. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is one of the few Muslim sects that doesn't embrace the violence. They're actually working hand in hand with the Christians, trying to rescue each other right now. Well, his little army is out there hunting them down and killing them in the streets, and then their public message, oh no, sorry, don't do that. But we're gonna again bring this guy to the White House. I don't understand why we're trying to legitimize this guy, but for some reason we are.
Well, let me try to behave. He's not just coming to the White House. He's gonna head over to Capitol Hill first and then go to the White House. When I
great.
said soon we'll see jihadists walking down the Capitol, everyone's like, okay, you're just being, you. Well, there you go. November 10 is the day I predicted. I didn't predict the date, but I predicted the event. Now, here's why he's coming, by the way, just to add to the irony. He's coming because he has said he will consider. He has not agreed to. He will consider to add Syria to the United States of America list of countries coalition to stop ISIS. Like the irony itself, it's amazing. Hey, let me come to US. Let me walk down the Capitol, come to White House, have a nice dinner. I'll think about possibly turning against my own people. Absolutely. And again, for everybody, just in case if you forgot, if the faces are familiar, we won this guy and we will pay $10 million reward for any information that leads to capture or kill of him, to here's a nice suit, you're a good looking guy and we're going to give you power and legitimize your entire government overnight.
I mean, again, it's unbelievable. I wish they had the balls to just arrest this guy when his plane hit the tarmac here and it was all a setup.
If
that
they
would be
wanted to do that, they would have done it in August when he came to New York for UN speech. Remember, this is
Yeah.
his first time to America. It's the first time officially invited by American government. But last
Yeah.
time in August, he came to New York for the UN Assembly speech.
Yeah, I mean, the one difference there is those, traditionally they have let other dictators and whoever speak at the UN. Again, not that I agree with that policy, but that is normally the way we handle it, whether you're talking Gaddafi or whoever else, that they've always let them come in, speak at the UN, and then they leave. And again, I don't agree with that policy. We ought to say, hell no, you're not touching down here. But I guess we want to leave the forum open.
Listen, we allowed Ahmadinejad, the guy plastered on all the pictures of the hostage crisis, to come in and speak. Not once,
yeah,
twice.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't understand why we're doing it. At the very least, you could just say you're not welcome here, but we don't even have the balls to do that. We should be arresting them on the ground when they touch down, especially this guy killed Americans. So, I wish that, he'd get off the plane and end up in handcuffs. We arrest his security team. Like, oh, yeah, by the way, we still had arrest warrants out for you. Remember what happened in Iraq? And then to surprise the world, lock him up. And, who cares what happens back in Syria if that causes, his government to disappear or fall apart. Any words of wisdom you want to leave our audience with here today?
Yes, pay attention to policies versus speeches versus a resume as we get close. I know you think you have a year until midterm. Trust me, you blink, it's there.
Yeah.
Please stop listening to mainstream media in any shape or form. If you listen to them, hear them, and then go do research and find out if it's the truth or not. And remember, at the end of the day, America was built on we the people. Stop sitting on your couches and expect somebody else to fix it, somebody else to vote for it, somebody else to run for office. Get up, do something.
Yes.
Run if you can. If you cannot, help those who are trying to run and make a difference. It's okay to cut down on some of your habits. I've done it. Michael has done it. Let's try and instead of trusting for fact we're going to flip seats in midterm,
Yeah.
let's make sure we take the actions to guarantee those flips instead of because Trump won 2026 is ours. That's it.
Agreed. Well said. Yeah, I agree. Get off your butts and do something if you want. Be the change you want to see. I get that some people don't have the capacity to run for office or to do, take other giant steps, but you can still support people that are pushing that direction, making the changes that we want to see. Any words of wisdom Emma wants to leave us with?
Emma said head over to lutfstudio.com and make purchases of my mom art so she can buy me treats.
Well said, Emma. And yeah, I'll endorse that sentiment as well. Well, thank you again for joining us today. To our audience, thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. I'll be back tomorrow with even more. Thanks again, guys.